Hi, I'm Nick Marchese from Cloudasta, and we'll be talking about Google Calendar appointment schedules today. So we are going to talk about how this has changed to this new feature from what it used to be, and how to get the most out of it. All right, let's dive right in. So I'm on my Google Calendar right now. The first thing is to see if this is even enabled for your account. So a pretty easy way to see that is if you just hit create. If you see appointment slots here, that means you haven't enabled this yet, or it hasn't been enabled for you. So we can just go over to settings and make that change. So I'm going to navigate to settings, and then I'm going to see on my left toolbar here, all the way at the bottom of our general, we have appointment schedules, and it should bring you down in here. And then we have this new checkbox that says create appointment schedules instead of appointment slots. Eventually, this will replace appointment slots overall, and you won't need to do this, but you may need to depending on your account. So go ahead and check that box. And then we're going to hit the back button. And now we are back to our calendar. So now if we were to hit create, we see we have appointment schedules. Okay, so there's two ways to do this. You can hit create and then click appointment schedules, or you can drag and click anywhere on your calendar. Let's start with the plus button. So we'll hit the plus and hit appointment schedules. So the great thing about appointment schedules is it gives anybody the ability to book an appointment with you just by having a booking page. This is a little bit similar to the older appointment slots. The biggest difference is that this can now be used outside of your domain and not just within your domain. It also has a lot more features and functionality that the old appointment slots used to have. So let's get started with just what we can do. So I'm making a new appointment schedule. So I'm going to create one, and this is just going to be called office hours. What you can now check is how long each appointment should be. So you have everything from 15 minutes to 2 hours, and then you can add in any custom thing you like. Your general availability for this appointment schedule. So these are the default settings that pop up. You want to be careful depending on what you want to do. Notice it's automatically on repeating weekly. So you may not want this on repeat weekly. Maybe you just want an appointment schedule for an interview or something, and you just need 2 days or 1 day of a couple of slots, and you don't need it happening every week. But if you're like me and you like to have your appointments for office hours booked through this, you could have it as repeating weekly, and then you could share that one link that never changes. So let's keep this as actually, let's make this don't repeat. So we're going to say we just want to set up appointment slots for tomorrow. And so right now it's saying every time between 9 and 5, let's make it 9 and 4. If we wanted to add an additional date, maybe I will add the 18th just because we could also see that, but only in the morning. So 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. So now we have 2 different dates that are part of this appointment schedule. So we can see they're 1 hour, how many are there, and then we have a couple more options in here. Under scheduling window, you can limit or restrict the maximum time in advance that an appointment can be booked. So it can only be booked 60 days in advance. Maybe you don't want it to be booked too far out, so you can lower that or raise it, or just don't enable that setting. And same thing for minimum. So maybe you don't want to be ambushed with an appointment first thing in the morning when it wasn't booked days in advance. So you can go ahead and change this as well. We'll leave that as 4 hours. We'll close this little tab. And then we're going to go into booked appointment settings. So we have a couple of different things here. So for buffer time, I can put in how much time do I want between my appointment slots. Right now, I'm back to back to back to back to back to back to back. But if I want to add in some buffer time, let's turn this on, and let's say I need 10 minutes to recenter myself between meetings. So now I've got 10 minutes between my meetings, which obviously is going to bring down the number of slots depending on your booking windows, or maybe you need more time. You need an hour in between your appointments, and that will change that as well. So you also don't need to have buffer time if you just want to go back to back. And then if you needed to set the maximum number of bookings per day. So maybe you only wanted to have 3 appointments per day for this sort of an activity. You turn that on and nothing's going to change here, but once 3 are booked, they will all disappear. All right, so we can leave those checked on or off, doesn't matter. And then another thing here, which is new, which I really appreciate, is the calendars to check for availability. So if you have multiple calendars on your account, or if you have multiple calendars that you're subscribed to, you can choose to check multiple calendars for availability. So maybe you're setting up an interview and with you and somebody else, and you send this out, you can subscribe to their calendar and then check it in here. So that way it's checking against both your calendar and the other person's calendar. So that can be really helpful when you're trying to bring in multiple calendars. Change the color of what you would like this to be. You could also add in some other cool labels and colors here. I'm gonna leave this as blue. We'll hit next. All right, a couple more things. So booking page. So it may or may not by default be bringing in your photo and name from your Google account. You can check that there. Location and conferencing. So would you like to meet in person, over the phone, video conferencing? What's happening? You could drop this down, and by default, you can set up every appointment that's booked gets a meet link. If it's in person, you can add a location in there. You can put a phone call in there, or you could say none, and I'll just figure it out later. So you can set that up. I'll throw a meet link on there. So a meet link will be generated after it gets booked, so each one is unique. And then a description for what this appointment schedule is for. This is my office hours. Be sure to book ahead of time. You've got some rich text editing in here as well with links and so on and so forth. So now if we go to booking form, these are the questions that the person is asked when they go to book an appointment with you. They're asked right now the first name, last name, and their email address. Those are the required fields. Then you can add items in here. So they have a preloaded one for a phone number, and you can make that required if you like, or you can add in a bunch of custom items. So I like to say for my office hours, what are we meeting about? Just in case the person hasn't reached out ahead of time. And I could also ask them their favorite color. What is your favorite color? So it's nice to get a little bit of information ahead of time. If you want to require email verification, you could do that as well. This is to prevent malicious booking for those who aren't signed into a Google account. You can decide for yourself if you feel like that's worth it. Okay, and then booking confirmation. So the person that is booking will get a calendar invite, and you will also get a calendar invite. The person will get an email reminder. And you can choose if that's 1 day before, any number of days or minutes before, and you can add more dates and times for that. I'll leave that on and hit save. Okay, so now I have my appointment schedule for my office hours all set. So you can see on my calendar, it just looks like this little blue sidebar, and it says office hours, and you can see the ranges that I've set those up for. To share these out, just click on that, and then you have this open booking page. Or you can hit share. Let me open booking page, you can see what it looks like. So I could see all of my availability for this appointment schedule for today and tomorrow. And if a person were to click it in, it would look like this, which is what we just set up, which is really great and really nice. Something else to note, if you have multiple appointment schedules, you can click this little see all your bookings. And they would all show up here. So for me, I have a 15-minute office hours, 30-minute office hours, and 45-minute office hours appointment schedules. And I share out this link that has multiple bookings for different appointment schedules. Okay, so here's all the information. Here's what we see. If somebody were to book one with you, I'll show you what that would look like. So we are meeting about something. I'm gonna book. This is what the person would see. And then if I go back to my calendar, I can now see that I have a time that is booked here for my office hours through the booking page. Another thing that I want to talk about is how you can add additional blocks of time to your appointment schedules. So let's say, you know what, I need more time for my appointments, for my office hours on the following Monday. So what I can do is I can click and drag anywhere on my calendar, maybe another 8 to 12. I can go over to appointment schedules. And you can do two things. I can hit create new appointment schedule, which is going to do the exact same thing I just set up, but it's going to be a different appointment schedule. So it's a different link, unless you do that see all booking link. Or if I want to add it to an existing schedule. So I can now add to the office hour schedule I made. So now if I hit save there, if I were to go back to that link, I see Friday, Saturday, and Monday. So I can add additional time to the same appointment schedules, which is a really cool feature to be able to make those really flexible and not have to keep resending out new links. So appointment schedules, remember, are really fantastic because you can share them outside of your domain. It does not necessarily need to be only within your domain. So really you can set this up. We set as one time and then they're really set for forever. Remember, we set these up to be do not repeats. But if I were to say every Tuesday from 1 to 3, I'm going to set up a new appointment schedule. I'm going to have quick check-in sessions. If I were to set those up and set them up on repeating weekly, then I'll see every Tuesday from 1 to 3, all of those times are there. So taking advantage of that repeat weekly can also be a really, really helpful thing. All right. I hope that you learned something about appointment schedules today. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. This is a feature that I'm really excited about, and I know it's just continuing to grow and advance. And we hope that you enjoy it.